Hello. So this is the level 4, unit 3, lesson D video. And the topic of this lesson is proverbs. So proverbs are short sayings that are usually easy to remember and express some kind of life truth or wisdom. So take a moment to read this article about Proverbs. And then when you're ready, we're going to talk about the Proverbs that are in the article. So please pause the video, read, and then we'll go over the Proverbs. Okay, so this article is a bit long, so please make note of anything you have questions on so that we can talk about it when we meet. I did create presentation to go over the proverbs that are in the article. And the article talks first about folk wisdom. You might also know the expression common sense. The idea is that this is knowledge or wisdom that's learned either from other people, maybe grandparent to grandchild, parents to children. So it's things that are learned from other people or from life experience. It's not necessarily something you learn by reading a book or going to school. So in the article, there are several English proverbs, and I wanted to go over their meanings. The first one mentioned is all's fair in love and war. And so this means that in certain extreme situations, it's okay to do something bad in order to get what you want. So this is a way to say in situations like love, uh, when you really care about someone, or in war, maybe you're having a big argument, it's okay to do whatever you need in order to get the result you want. The next one, absence makes the heart grow fonder, means that when you're away from someone you love, maybe your boyfriend or your wife, you start to like them more and more. However, out of sight, out of mind has the opposite meaning. So this proverb means when you don't see someone, you stop thinking about them. They go out of your mind. This can also be true for things. So maybe I want to stop eating candy. So instead of leaving the candy on my table, I put the candy away in a cabinet. So if I can't see it, then I'll stop thinking about it. So out of sight, out of mind can be for both people or objects. Practice makes perfect means that the more you practice something, the more skilled you become and the more better you are at that skill. Here you can see the child saying, I don't want to practice. I want to skip ahead to the part where I'm awesome. So the meaning here, you can't become perfect at something unless you're willing to practice. And so I hope you do this with your English, right? The more you practice English, the better your English will become. Haste makes waste means that when you do things very quickly, you make mistakes. The word haste means hurry or very fast, and then waste is when you lose things. So here you can see in the picture, because the man is running, the fruit is falling out of the basket and it's being wasted. Or here, because the woman was running, she fell and broke and lost all of the water. So this idea means that when you do things too quickly, when you don't pay attention, you end up wasting time, effort, and resources like money. Out of the frying pan and into the fire means that someone goes from a bad situation to a situation that's even worse. It takes two to tango. If you don't know tango, you can look it up. It's a romantic dance that requires two people. So this proverb means that when two people are in an argument or a bad situation together, both people are responsible for the problem. So maybe you are in an argument with someone and you might want to say, I have done nothing wrong. It's all their fault. So it takes two to tango means no. If the two of you are in this situation together, then both people have something to do with the problem. It's not only one person who causes the problem, it's two. When the cat's away, the mice will play means that when there is no authority figure, so the boss goes on vacation, the parents are away at work, the teacher steps out of the classroom, when that authority figure is gone, people will do whatever they want. They'll goof off, act silly, not do their work. So that's the meaning of this. When the cat's away, the mice will play. Once bitten, twice shy is a little more difficult to explain, but the meaning once bitten is that I've had a bad experience. So here in this picture, the man is bitten by a dog. So if I see my friend's dog, the dog comes and bites me, the next time I see that dog, I'm not going to go near the dog. I'm not going to pet the dog. And so that's the meaning twice shy. It means I'm more hesitant. I don't want to have that bad experience again. So I'm going to be more careful. I'm going to stay away from the dog. Clothes make the man means that people will judge you according to how you dress. So this is another way of saying that the clothing you wear are very important and it changes how people see you. However, you can't judge a book by its cover means the opposite. Here it means that you cannot judge people by their appearance. So here in the picture, if I see this man based on his appearance, I might think he is bad. But on the inside, he could be an angel. Whereas I see the little girl, I think she's sweet, but look, she could be a bad child. So it's another way of saying that people are not always what they seem. And then the similar idea, handsome is as handsome does, means that it's your action that is more important. So your character, the way you behave, that makes you a handsome person, not your appearance. Okay, so if you have other questions on the article, please let me know. Here on the bottom, you will find this information in the article. So take a moment to either in your notebook or here in the textbook to write out the answers. And then when you're ready, I'll show you what I have. Okay, so I typed these up in a separate document. Sorry. So you can check to see that you have the same. You don't have to have all of the exact wording, but these are the answers to these questions. So you can pause the video if you need to and check what you have. Okay, so let's go to the next page. And these are proverbs from different countries. So take a moment to read them on your own and take a guess at what you think they mean. Okay, so now we're going to listen to people talk about these proverbs, and you're going to number the proverbs 1 to 4. So the first one you hear discussed, label that number 1, etc.
Page 29. Lesson D. Proverbs. 2. Listening and speaking. Favorite proverbs. B. Listen to 4 people talk about their favorite proverbs. Number the proverbs above 1 to 4. What do they mean? Did you guess the meaning correctly? 1.
I think I've been driving my family crazy lately. Ever since I was given that big promotion at work, I have all these new problems to deal with. And every night I come home totally worried and start complaining to everyone. And my grandmother always says to me, "If you're afraid of the wolves, don't go into the woods." Like, I chose to accept this promotion, so I have to accept all the problems that come with it. So that's become one of my favorite proverbs. I think it's partly because my grandmother is from Russia, and it says something about her culture. You know, she grew up near a forest where there was a lot of danger.
2.
My favorite proverb in Portuguese is hard bread is better than nothing. I like it because it reminds me that when times are bad, you have to be grateful for the little that you have. And I thought of this proverb the other day when I was talking to a friend of mine. She's living with her parents while she looks for a job, and she isn't paying rent or anything because she's not earning any money. And she started complaining to me that she doesn't like the food her parents cook. Can you believe it?
3.
My father is always quoting proverbs to me in Chinese. And my favorite one is, "You can't expect both ends of a sugar cane to be sweet." He used it recently when I was complaining about my new apartment. You know, I'm glad I moved into the city, but I've really been bothered by all the noise. So I was telling my father this, and he responded with the proverb about the sugar cane. It means that you can't have the advantages of something without the disadvantages. It always makes me stop and think a bit.
4.
You know, things haven't been so great lately. I feel like I've been hit with a whole bunch of problems all at once. But I have a favorite proverb that always makes me feel better. It's, every Tuesday has its Sunday. That's what we say in Spanish to cheer people up. You know, it means there are always going to be some bad days, but there are going to be good days too. You just have to be patient.
Okay, so let's check your answers. The first proverb discussed is the one from Russia. So this is number 1. Number 2 is the one from Portugal. Number 3 is the Chinese proverb. And number 4 is the Spanish one. Okay, so we're going to continue to part C. And you're going to hear people comment about these proverbs. So you're going to match these proverbs above to the proverb that in English that has a similar meaning.
Page 29. 2. Listening and speaking. Favorite proverbs. C. Match each proverb above with a similar English proverb below. Write the numbers. Then listen again as someone comments on each proverb and check your answers. 1.
I think I've been driving my family crazy lately. Ever since I was given that big promotion at work, I have all these new problems to deal with. And every night I come home totally worried and start complaining to everyone. And my grandmother always says to me, "If you're afraid of the wolves, don't go into the woods." Like, I chose to accept this promotion, so I have to accept all the problems that come with it. So that's become one of my favorite proverbs. I think it's partly because my grandmother is from Russia, and it says something about her culture. You know, she grew up near a forest where there was a lot of danger.
It sounds like your grandmother wants you to be a little tougher. There's a similar saying in English, but it's about the kitchen. You often hear, "If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen." That's what people say at the office whenever anybody complains about all the pressure. But I totally understand what you're going through. Just remember that the first couple of months are the hardest.
2.
My favorite proverb in Portuguese is hard bread is better than nothing. I like it because it reminds me that when times are bad, you have to be grateful for the little that you have. And I thought of this proverb the other day when I was talking to a friend of mine. She's living with her parents while she looks for a job, and she isn't paying rent or anything because she's not earning any money. And she started complaining to me that she doesn't like the food her parents cook. Can you believe it?
That's so incredible. I mean, she should be grateful she has a place to live. In English, we often say, beggars can't be choosers. You know, it means that you shouldn't make demands when other people are being generous with you. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar, I think. Anyway, I hope your friend finds a job soon, if only for her parents' sake.
3.
My father is always quoting proverbs to me in Chinese. And my favorite one is, you can't expect both ends of a sugar cane to be sweet. He used it recently when I was complaining about my new apartment. You know, I'm glad I moved into the city, but I've really been bothered by all the noise. So I was telling my father this, and he responded with the proverb about the sugar cane. It means that you can't have the advantages of something without the disadvantages. It always makes me stop and think a bit.
That sounds a lot like a proverb we have in English. People say, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It means about the same thing, I think. If you want one thing, you might have to give up something else. Like if you want to live in the middle of the city, you'll probably have to put up with a lot of noise. But anyway, I'm sure you'll get used to all the noise after a while.
4.
You know, things haven't been so great lately. I feel like I've been hit with a whole bunch of problems all at once. But I have a favorite proverb that always makes me feel better. It's, every Tuesday has its Sunday. That's what we say in Spanish to cheer people up. You know, it means there are always going to be some bad days, but there are going to be good days too. You just have to be patient.
In English, there's a proverb that's kind of like that. It's, every cloud has a silver lining. What it means literally is that some sun shines through every cloud. So it means that there's always hope even in the darkest times. People say it whenever a friend is going through a difficult time. You know, to point out that something good often comes out of a bad situation. So, I hope that'll be true for you, too.
Okay, so let's check the answers. So you can't have your cake and eat it too is the same as, um, sorry, this is the Chinese proverb. So that's number 3. Every cloud has a silver lining is the same as the Spanish proverb, which was number 4. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen is the same as the Russian proverb, which was number 1. And then beggars can't be choosers is the same as the Portuguese proverb, which was number 2. So take a moment to think which of these is your favorite and be ready to discuss that when we meet on Zoom. I'll tell you for me, my favorite one is every cloud has a silver lining. And when you choose which one is your favorite, you'll explain why. And so the reason I like that one is because I think it's very hopeful and it helps me to stay positive even when there are a lot of problems, to always see the good in any situation. So for the last part of this lesson is the writing practice. So take a moment to read this paragraph about an Arabic proverb. So what you're going to do for your writing is to choose a different proverb. It can be one in your country, it can be an English one that you like, but you'll choose a favorite proverb and then follow this same pattern. So your first sentence will be, one of my favorite proverbs is, and then you'll say the proverb. You'll explain when it's said. So give an example of a situation in which someone would use this proverb. You'll explain what it means, and then you'll do a similar proverb. So it could be, if you're choosing an English proverb, then maybe find a similar proverb in your language, and then you'll explain why you like it. So when you do this writing, I created an assignment page in Canvas, so you can upload it through Canvas. If you don't have Canvas, you can send it to me through Remind. You can either just type this whole paragraph and send it in Remind. You can write it on a notebook, paper, take a photo and send it. But some way, you can send it by email, but some way for me to look at your writing. Okay, so that's all that we have for this lesson. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.